Welcome to Kelowna Now Live. It's Jason Mann, and joining me this afternoon, it's Wayne Wilson. How are you?
I'm just fine.
Now,
glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. You sent us an email, and you were showing us some of the latest artwork that you've been producing. Now, for those who maybe don't know you, though, quickly, you are an art historian, really, right?
Well, I guess curator, and historian. Yeah, I was the director of the museums here for the last 12 years of my career. So I spent 34 years in the museum field.
And author?
All of it here. Yeah, I've authored a couple of books and lots of historical articles.
A canoe adventure.
Yeah. In fact, this summer, the last week of June and the first week of July, we're heading down to Montana to paddle for 2 weeks on the Missouri River through the Badlands, the Missouri Breaks. So looking forward to that.
More stories to tell.
Oh, and stories and tall tales.
Yeah. So, but what we're talking about today is this really interesting idea that you've come up with in terms of putting watercolors over top of topographical maps. And maybe Femke, if you want to just throw the first one up on the screen there so people can see a little more clearly.
Sure, there you go.
Now that is, I think we have that one here as well.
It's right there.
Yeah. Right. So what size would that be?
That's kind of 5 by 7, thereabouts. Yeah.
5 by, go this way.
Yeah.
There's the original.
So you can see that blown up on the page there.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of the themes that I've done on these old maps, and I use old navigation charts from the west coast of BC as well. I've done a series of mushrooms that have come out of kind of a bit of hiking up in the Sugar Lake area, again, going fishing. But, there was all kinds of these different species of mushrooms, and I took photographs of a lot of them. That's where the inspiration
Now, is
came
this
from.
Map here? What is the map? Fort Steele, where is that?
Well, the Fort Steele is over in the Kootenays.
Okay.
So I work with whatever map I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but you do some interesting things with the art dependent on what the map is of, though, too, right? Like, for example, this one here, which I don't think we have a picture of, but it's an orca?
It's a whale, a humpback whale, and it's on an old navigation chart from the west coast.
Saturn Island right there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's, I try to include some kind of point of reference for people so they can understand where the location is. I'm a geographer by training, and having an understanding of the space that we live in and drive through every day is kind of fun. So
can we go to the next image, actually? Let's take a look at, we've got 4 to take a quick look at. So what is it about maps that inspires or creates a sense of even energy? I don't know, like I'm not a cartographer or anything like that, but I get excited about maps.
Well, we talked about that a little bit before we got on the air here, and about you when you were a kid thinking about how intriguing maps were, and I was too. And I don't think we're alone. I think there's a real curiosity that maps spark. And you see it come out in, children's books, young adult literature. Look at the Harry Potter stories with the maps, it's the intrigue that you get from the maps and poring over them when you were a kid and what's where, and it's so, and I think that interest continues through today, but like so many things that happen when we get older, it just kind of disappears. So this work that I've been doing here is really to kind of bring some of that imagination back into our lives in a different way. So the map is there, but let's cue that interest with a little bit of watercolor in this case. Right.
And that's what it is. It's watercolor, and it varied. This is like a map on top of what would you call that?
What I've done is I've taken this map in this case, and I've glued it down to a piece of watercolor or watercolor paper, 140-pound watercolor paper. So what I've done is done the painting there, but then bled that painting right off into the watercolor paper as well, kind of going beyond just the map itself. And
it just adds another dimension of mystery and intrigue.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Yeah, and I think we've got I think we've got this one as well.
I think that's the 4th one on the series there.
So, yeah, there it is, Ramage, and that's up on the North Thompson River. So, it's the kind of rugged interior landscape of British Columbia, and running down through the center of it is this river through the gully there.
Yeah.
And as long as it's, and you can do watercolor on this kind of paper, as long as it's an uncoated paper stock. Like a magazine today, you couldn't do that because it's the shiny coating, but it's uncoated, so it'll take watercolor, and you have to work the watercolor in sometimes because there's the ink from the map on there, and you have to get the watercolor through that ink. So it does take a bit of work sometimes, but it'll go on the bulk of these maps. Yeah.
Well, I love what you've done. Maybe we'll just take a look at the last one again.
Sure.
And while we're looking at it, maybe you could explain why we're talking about this today. You've created a whole bunch of these, and you're going to put them on display.
This is a brand new series that I've done, and I work out of a small studio in the north end of Kelowna, down right at the end of Gordon by Knox Mountain there, and we're doing a kind of open studio event on Saturday and Sunday from 10 till 3, and I'm going to be launching all of this new material June 1st and 2nd. Yeah. So, there's lots of great new shops down there. There's a new brewery there. There's a plant shop. There's a rock and mineral shop. There's Bright Jenny coffee shop, all kinds of, so it's getting to be a destination. We're one of the first ones there. So we like to think that we're bringing it all to the north end,
The cultural hub is growing.
What can I say? Yeah.
Yeah. It's overflowing. Awesome. And I know we have a piece, but we'll do a separate video, but we're going to give away a piece here just in time for Father's Day as well. We should just mention that. But if people want to come down and see your work, what is the name of the studio?
It's called Fools and Sages Art Studio. Okay. Great line from AC/DC, and you pick whether it's the fool or the sage. Have a look at the art and tell me what you think. There are 4 of us in there, and we have a great time, and come by and have a look. 1090 Gordon. So right down at the end of Gordon, great fun.
This is a neat piece. I love this, having lived on the coast for a while. That really captures the color of the starfish.
You could see, I tried to get that texture in there. I remember you probably do as a kid, picking up those starfish, and there was kind of a roughness to them. So yeah.
That's great. Wayne, thanks for coming in and sharing this with us.
Hey, you're welcome.
Wish you all the best with it. Yeah. Do you have a name? Is there a name for this type of art?
Well, the paper is all, in the museum and archives field, this is called ephemera. And ephemera is generally paper that is not supposed to stick around. So envelopes, letterhead, waybills, old maps, it's kind of on a one-way street. You use it and use it up and it's gone. I'd like to say that I invented it, but lots of people have been painting on old paper for a long time, using ephemera for that. And I've just decided to kind of adopt that design approach a little bit and put these new designs onto British Columbia maps and British Columbia navigation charts. So here we go.
Well, if you are interested in art and or maps, this might be something that's worth checking out. Sages and Fools.
Yeah, Fools and Sages Art Studio. Yeah, and if it's here's a great piece. If you're looking for that Father's Day piece, and your dad was a fly fisher, then there's a great pumpkin head.
Love it.
Fishing fly on Napier Lake over in the Nicola area. So lots of things to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in again, and good luck with the show.
Thanks very much, Jason. Appreciate it.